We're looking at a picture where we were, and you can see the weather map there, which now shows a little bit of rain here and there approaching the area of Kennedy Space Center. And when you look at the live picture, you can see clouds. I mean, clearly it's a cloudy day. Does this, the fact that there's an overcast, and he's not going to be able to see the ground until he comes through that cloud layer, does that make any difference?
Well, it does. It makes the adrenaline level go up. And I think Mark Polanski, on his first attempt here to ever land the shuttle himself, will be really feeling the pressure to follow those guidance cues from the computer precisely. What works so well, though, in these situations is he has his co-pilot, Bill Oefelein, sitting right next to him, verbally feeding him assurances or suggestions as to how to refine his approach. And, of course, the rest of the cockpit crew, Bob Kerbeam right behind the pilots, and Joni Higginbotham to the right, they're following in their checklist as well. So they're going to make sure that he doesn't miss anything critical as he flies this instrument approach through the clouds over Florida.
Now, Dr. Jones, before I go to John Serry, who is live at Johnson Space Center, we look at this weather map. You can see a couple of hot cells of really heavy rain still on the west coast of Florida. They're trying to get this landing in before that rain arrives, right?
Right, and they're going to beat that stuff on the west coast. They flew way high over it as they came in at hypersonic
Dr. Jones,
speed.
let's listen to NASA. We can now see the shuttle on its approach. Well, I picked a moment where they're not speaking. Let me go to John Serry live at Johnson Space Center. John, we can see the shuttle now.
That's right. Quite dramatic. In fact, the shuttle's trajectory was taking it directly over Houston, and some employees here at the Johnson Space Center who weren't directly involved with mission control and the shuttle landing actually went out the building. They were hoping that they could get a look at the bright plasma trail that you'll often see behind the shuttle as it enters the atmosphere, and those air molecules in the upper
4 minutes, 30 seconds from touchdown.
They could not see anything. The shuttle was apparently too high, and also it's broad daylight here when they were looking for it. But the one thing that we did experience was the sonic boom. Several minutes after the shuttle passed over Houston, the building I'm in right now, we felt it rattle. We heard it rattle, a very loud boom. Also, our satellite operator outside said it was extremely loud outside. It's a safe bet that that was from the shuttle as it was coming in, emitting that very dramatic sonic boom. But a very exciting day for everyone here at NASA as they're watching these live pictures of the shuttle
Commander Mark
re-entering
Polanski
the atmosphere
Discovery
and making its way back.
All right, John Serry, let's listen in now.
In Florida.
A 330-degree left overhead turn, taking Discovery south of the Kennedy Space Center out over the water, out to the north, and then setting up for a final approach from the northwest. Time to touchdown, 3 minutes, 25 seconds. The view as seen by pilot Bill Oefelein through his heads-up display.
The shuttle will land, according to NASA, at 32. Dr. Jones, you can see what's going on here in the final 2.5 minutes or so. We're looking at the commander's view through the heads-up display right now. Can you walk us through this? And listen up for NASA. If they speak up, let's listen to them. But walk me through what's going on here.
Of course, they're just coming through 30,000 feet or so. You can see those clouds that we were talking about. Airspeed's about 275 knots.
Houston, on at the 180.
On at the 180.
They're halfway through their turn to the runway, and the guidance looks great, and they're really feeling about 1.5 times the force of gravity.
2.5 minutes.
So 2.5 minutes at 32. We'll see if their estimations are right on. It should land at 5:32 Eastern, just a couple minutes from now. Once again, we're seeing the commander's view. You can see the clouds on that heads-up display in the cockpit.
That's right. He does not see the runway yet, and so this guidance box in the center of the screen is telling him to steer precisely down the flight path. He's passing through 20,000 feet.
On at the 90.
On at the 90.
What does that mean?
A very smooth roll around the heading alignment circle, 90 degrees before Commander Mark Polanski lines up with the runway. Altitude 15,000 feet.
You really feel like you're falling like a brick, sliding off the front edge of your seat at this point.
Houston, Discovery, we have the field in sight.
Here it comes. Now you're
from landing.
This is we're 1.5 minutes from landing.
11,300 feet.
Dr. Jones, has he got the runway lined up there?
Well, you can't even see the runway clearly. It's just underneath that long oblong. Mark was the coach for my commander on my last flight, and this time he's doing the job himself. So this must really be gratifying for him.
And exciting.
This is what a shuttle pilot lives for.
Altitude 6,000 feet.
So just over a mile high, about 270 knots.
And it really looks like you're going to crash short of the runway at this point. It's only at about 2,000 feet that you'll see the nose start to come up. There's the runway visible at the top of the screen.
So now he can see. Now he knows exactly where he's going, right?
Display on
Exactly.
the right,
now I can do it visually.
feet.
Just there at the end of the runway, you can see the carrier landing system, the
Beginning
bright bar.
to pre-flare, setting up for deployment of the landing gear at 300 feet. Landing gear is down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Nose gear touchdown. Discovery is rolling out at sunset on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, completing 204 orbits, traveling 5.3 million miles. Discovery completing its 33rd mission and its 7th to the International Space Station.
So the shuttle Discovery is on the ground successfully. A dusk landing in Florida at the Kennedy Space Center and a little bit of rain. It had 204 orbits before landing. Traveled 5.3 million miles. It's its 33rd space mission. Orlando Salinas is down there at the Kennedy Space Center.